What's up guys, Kyle here again, and today we are gonna check out the AMT Electronics P-Lead. Yes, the P-Lead. Let's do it! Alright guys, hope you're doing great out there today. If this is your first time here at my channel, what the hell is wrong with you? My name is Kyle, and what I do is I take awesome high gain amps, guitars, cabs, speakers, pickups, overdrives. I record them through a simple SM57 setup, and I give you guys the unprocessed audio on your end. So if you're into E-standard thrash riffs, drop C hardcore riffs, and dudes that are totally manic, you're in the right place. Consider hitting the like button and subscribing on your way out so you don't miss any more of my stuff. Thanks. Alright guys, so today we are checking out the AMT Electronics P-Lead. So what this pedal is supposed to be is a 5150 preamp in a tiny little pedal. And what this pedal has different from a lot of the other 5150 amp in a box or overdrive pedals is it's got an actual 12AX7 tube in it. Does that tube actually do anything for the tone? Because as far as I know, a lot of these pedals that have the preamp tube in them are kind of a gimmick because they need a certain amount of voltage in order to actually really for the tube to be adding anything positive to the tone. And I just don't know that much about circuits, and I don't know that this pedal is getting enough volts to that preamp tube or if it's getting enough power or whatever for it to have any sort of positive effect. But what I do know is this pedal sounds incredible. Like, if you guys couldn't tell in the beginning clip, like, I am absolutely enamored with this thing. It sounds extremely good. It is very, very close to the 5150, the actual OG right here, sitting right underneath it. And I'm going into a Seymour Duncan Power Stage 200. That's what I was using for the beginning, for the intro clip. And man, this thing just absolutely nails the 5150. The mids are in the right place, the highs are in the right place, the gain structure, everything. It's all there in the right places, and I just can't believe how good that this thing sounds. So we're gonna explore this pedal in depth a little bit more. We're gonna run it through the Seymour Duncan Power Stage 200 a little bit more, and then we're gonna run it into the effects return, effectively utilizing the power section of the 5150 to see how much this thing actually sounds like the 5150 itself. So one thing about this pedal, it's got two different settings on the side here. So it seems like the preamp section is obviously meant to be a preamp. It's meant to go through a power section only. The drive setting, it's not like an overdrive, which is what I originally thought. I think that that is supposed to go out in front of a clean section because the volume is a little bit lower, and the highs are rolled off quite a bit because, you know, typically if a pedal is meant to be a distortion pedal, it has less high end, and you can kind of add the high end from the clean channel of whatever you're putting it into. But if you're running it as a preamp pedal, the pedal needs to have extra high end in order to make sure that it doesn't sound muffled. So when you switch it over to the preamp section, it definitely brightens up considerably. So you can either use this as a distortion pedal in front of a clean channel, or you can use it as an actual dedicated preamp pedal. For the purposes of today's video, we are using it as a preamp pedal. As I mentioned, it's awesome, it's cool, video over, that's all you guys needed to know. But for real, it does sound extremely good. We're gonna turn that overdrive off. It was the MXR M77. You guys know I love that overdrive. It's one I used for years in front of a 5150, so I was very familiar with how that should sound, and man, if this doesn't get extremely close. So nothing else is in front of this pedal. It is literally the pedal into the Seymour Duncan Power Stage, into this Mesa traditional 4x12 with the stock vintage 30s. We've got an SM57 on the V30. I am using my Balaguer Typhon here with a Seymour Duncan distortion in the bridge. Here is what it sounds like with the pedal off. And here's what it sounds like when we kick the pedal on. Guys, I would be hard pressed to find somebody who would think that that is a little tiny preamp pedal into a solid state power amp. That sounds very tube-like. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to me. Let's go ahead and pull that bass back a little bit. We're gonna pull that treble back just a tad. It sounds so good. It sounds so much like a 5150 should. Like I said, the mids are in the right place. Let's turn that gain up a little bit. Let's turn the low end up a little bit. Doesn't have any of that harsh, artificial high end that you get from a lot of preamp and distortion pedals. It sounds really natural. Let's dial those mids back. Let's see how much that makes a difference, because traditionally on the 5150, the mids don't make that much of a difference. This pedal is extremely tight. There's no overdrive on in front of the pedal, so it is very tight and percussive on those palm mutes. That is one thing where you may notice a difference. Is the original 5150 has a little sag. It's not super tight without an overdrive out front, whereas this pedal is. The pedal doesn't sound as huge as the 5150, but we're also running into a power amp that doesn't have the resonance control, which is what really shapes the low end on a 5150 to begin with. So that may change once we go into the power amp of this thing, but through just a regular, clean, solid state power amp, this thing still sounds so close to a 5150, it's incredible. Rolling the mids back, I actually kind of like that. Let's turn them up just a little bit, but we're still gonna leave them a tad bit scooped. Let's turn up that low end and see if we can't emulate a little bit more of that wall of sound low end like a 5150 would give you. So it definitely gets big in the lows, but again, it's still not huge wall of sound thing. It's not saggy at all either. It's very, very tight. I'm gonna actually increase the low end on the Duncan power stage. Okay, so yeah, that just sounds, it's still big. It's still a big low end, that's what she said. But for real, it's still full, it's still big sounding, it's just much tighter than a standard 5150 would be without an overdrive out front, but it sounds really, really good. Man, that is just a very, very big and full sounding low end. We're gonna turn it back a little bit on the power stage. We're gonna get a little bit more mids because having the low end that high does kind of hollow out the mid section just a tad. And here's a riff. Sounds really, really good. A little bit dry, but that's just because I had the gain turned slightly lower. Let's go ahead and kick on a familiar overdrive. Let's kick that M77 back in. Man, that just sounds like a boosted 5150 all day. Let's actually pull that gain back a tad. We've got plenty of low end, we've got plenty of mids. Play one quick riff in D standard and see how this thing sounds drop down a little bit. Sounds awesome to me. The mids are maybe a little boxy, but I do have them cranked pretty high on the pedal itself, but it sounds super good. It handles the lower tunings really well, especially with an overdrive out front. It takes the overdrive really well, but let's see how it sounds. How close does it really compare when you actually go through the power section of the 5150? That's gonna be really interesting. Okay guys, so we're going into the effects return of the 5150. I haven't touched anything other than the level on the pedal, and I have the power section controls on the 5150 set how I would set them if I was playing just the amp. So let's play that same riff in D standard and see how it sounds. It sounds really close and it sounds really, really good. I think there's maybe just a little bit less upper mid, that little less of that PV coctois going on in the pedal. It's a little bit more low mid focused. That also could be because I have the low end dialed pretty high. Sounds great to me. There's a little bit of noise when it is taking the overdrive. It takes it well, but at the same time, you can definitely tell that it's not taking it quite as well as, say, the preamp of an all-tube amp, but it still sounds good. It doesn't sound bad. You just have to be a little bit more careful with your picking hand and play a little cleaner. With no overdrive on, it still sounds huge. Let's get that gain up. Guys, that is such a good sounding 5150 emulation. Like, I'm so impressed with this thing. So the 5150 power amp, much like I had assumed, definitely fills out a lot of those lower frequencies that I felt was missing. When we had it going through the Duncan power stage, it definitely fills in a lot of those really low frequencies that the resonance kind of makes up for on the power amp of the 5150. Oh, it sounds so good. All right, guys, I'm gonna dial one more riff on this thing. It sounds incredible. I think it sounds better without the boost. The boost does add a tad bit of noise. I think we can get it to do what we want without it though. All right, final clip. Let's hear how it sounds. No boost, just raw pedal. it's gonna sound good. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for me today on the AMT Electronics P-Lead preamp / distortion pedal. I think this may be the best 5150 emulation I've tried yet. I think it sounded incredible through the Duncan power stage. Honestly, I think I liked it a little bit better through the power stage. It sounded really, really good through the 5150 power section as well. It was hitting all the right spots. You know what I mean? With the Duncan power stage 200, it just sounded really good through this thing. Awesome pedal. So if you want to pick up one of these pedals for yourself, they're kind of tough to get a hold of because of the way things are in the world right now in distribution and everything, but I'm going to get with my man Rodney G. Thanks again to Rodney for sending this pedal out. Check out Rodney's channel if you haven't checked it out already, because he is the man. He sent this pedal out for me to check out, and I really appreciate it, Rodney. Thank you so much, man. But if there is a way for you guys to get this pedal, I'm gonna check with Rodney, and if there is, I'm gonna put a link down below in the description. I really hope there is an easy way for you guys to get this, because this pedal sounds incredible. I'm a huge fan. I'm gonna be grabbing one for myself, trying to track one down because I really enjoy it. AMT also gave me another pedal while I was at Summer NAMM last year that I still have yet to demo, but I'm gonna demo that soon. That is the SLO and the rectifier in one. So I can't wait to check that out after checking this out. This thing is an absolute home run. What did you guys think? What did you hear on your end that I did not hear? Let me know down in the comments. I'm always curious to see what you guys think about these things. Thanks so much for watching, and if you want to support the channel, down in the description of this video are all my affiliate links, including my Sweetwater affiliate link, Eargasm, DistroKid, all that stuff. Anything that you click down there very much helps me out, and I would greatly appreciate it. Or you can add your name to this list of incredible people by joining my Patreon community and supporting the channel that way. I'll love you forever whether you want me to or not. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Kyle here again. We'll see you next time. You know what this wall is missing? Another amp. There we go.